Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to a new episode of Thinking It Through with Tia, where I spend a little bit of time addressing questions that I've received that discuss things like mindfulness, um, awareness, spirituality, self. Confidence, different things of that sort. So, thank you for joining me again as we go into the jar to figure out what we're going to talk about today. So, let us see what the topic is going to be today. Sorry, they're stuck together, so I can't. Um, can you talk about what can be done when a person does really well, yet still struggles to receive praise? Absolutely. So, the start of that, I guess, is what is really well to a person, right? So, if a person for themselves set, say, expectation that's not really realistic, then they may not understand that they're even doing well because where other people's standard of well is met, their standard is so much higher than that, they may not even consider it being met because they're just, let's say they have such a high expectation for themselves, I guess is the best way to say it. Sometimes we personally set expectations that are just unattainable. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. We set expectations that are unattainable, right? We fear success sometimes just as much as we fear failure. So sometimes we may set an expectation that is so high we think it's unattainable, so that if we don't really meet where we were going, we just, it's acceptable to believe that I was never going to make it anyway, right? And I know that that might seem a little weird, but alas, it is what we do. Many people do, right? So what I can say in regards to um, this question, it's almost like you could tell that this is a question of internal nature because you can identify that you do well, right? But you're struggling with the praise. So that's about internal, right? Because we can already rule out the fact whether or not you think you're doing well. You know that you are. You just struggle with it. Maybe it is something that happened in your childhood where you never got praise, or if you did, it was a backwards type praise. Like doing well was good, but never really good enough, right? It could have been where in times that you did well, instead of receiving your accolades and your praise for doing well or doing a good job, you may have been met with direction to still do more, or to still do better, or to keep pushing, or to keep pushing, or to keep pushing. So the first thing that I can suggest to you is to kind of get inside of yourself, slow yourself down a little bit, and kind of ask, when is the first time that I can think of in my mind that it was difficult for me to receive praise? I know it sounds like it might be hard to do, but I promise if you put some intention into it and you really like just focus your mind on it, you will be able to find that time. But go in and find that time. When was the first time that praise felt tough for me? Or praise didn't feel like a good thing, right? Because it didn't have to be a horrible experience. It didn't have to be anything like that. It's just that praise did not feel like a positive thing for you. And usually it is in your childhood. Usually it is from either a parent, a grandparent, some adult that was over you, a teacher, um, It could have been at church. It doesn't really matter where it was, playing sports. There was somewhere in your life that you did something and you felt very proud of yourself. And in that moment, the reaction that you wanted to receive or you expected to receive, you did not receive. In fact, you received something probably the opposite of that. That's where you will probably find the source of why it's difficult to accept and receive praise. When you can get to that place, come to terms with that place, accept that situation, reevaluate that situation with the eyes that you have now as an adult, with the perspective that you have now as an adult. Sometimes you'll find that it wasn't the intention of someone to not give you the praise, or it was sometimes the person's, let's say, their idea of tough love, right? Tough love and pushing you forward. Yeah, you did great here, but you still got to get this goal. You got to be more. You got to push. You got to push. You got to push, right? And sometimes we, even us as now the adult, may do that to our children and not realize the impact it could have later in life, right? So you have to accept that it maybe was not intentional to harm you or to change your perspective on praise. Maybe it was just an intention to push you a little bit further that just wasn't done in the best of ways, right? But when you can accept that it's not an attack as much as what it felt like, it allows you to let that shell that has created around you begin to crack and fall away. When that does, you will now open your eyes more to really get into seeing yourself as someone truly worthy of praise. To build that even further, what you could do is you could praise yourself. And I know that that seems like insane to some people, but you could praise yourself in regards to show respect for yourself for the things that you do. Like, you could thank yourself for responding in a positive manner. You could be proud of yourself for trying. You could be grateful for putting forward the effort, regardless of how it goes, right? And then you could try to find, in whatever the circumstances or the situation is, try to find something positive, right? Try to find something positive to notice in the midst of everything that you're doing. So if you could find something positive in the midst of what you're doing, it'll make it easier because you're now giving yourself positive reinforcement, positive feedback, love, and you're really catering to your own love, emotions, and things of that sort to help you be able to receive. It further takes the guard down. Now, is it going to stop you from not being willing to receive? No, right? Because there's still that little space in the back of your mind that is always chattering and telling you that you're not good enough, right? So now you have to focus on dealing with that voice. So once you can start to feed into yourself, you start to let yourself open up a little bit to start to receive, that voice is going to get louder. It's going to start saying things to you that you've probably never heard, or things that it knows really triggers you. So you have to learn to reject those thoughts. So when the thoughts start to come in that make you feel like, yeah, okay, they're saying you did good, but you still could have done this, and that. Reject that thought. But I did do this, right? Remind yourself that I did do well. And at this time, I did the very best that I could do. I put forth the best effort that I could put forward. And the result I received is actually positive. Now, if there is something that you wanted to do more, you have a right to do that as well. But it doesn't mean to negate the fact that you did already do something well, right? So be willing to acknowledge the positive feedback that you receive. Be willing to acknowledge the small victories, the successes. Sometimes just waking up and getting out of the bed is a success in itself. Okay, because there are many people that are struggling with things internally that make it difficult for them to even get out of the bed. Sometimes they cannot even see the point of stepping into a new day, right? But getting up, brushing your teeth is a victory. Showering, washing your face, getting dressed, having a job to go to, that's success. You passed someone's interview, you applied and you made it onto this job. Even if you're going to an interview, you made it that far, right? Even if you have the ability to sign an application, you made it that far, because there's someone that can't even do that, right? So learn to celebrate all of the small victories every time that voice starts getting very loud to try to tell you it's not good enough. There's more you need to do. You should change. You should do this. You should do that. I reject those thoughts. So reject those thoughts. When you reject them, they do go away. And if you don't believe me, try it. Reject the thought and it goes away instantaneously, because you will learn that you control your mind. Your mind does not control you. Society kind of makes us believe that it does, because we now are in a place that we let our minds just run rampant all the time. But when you come into the realization that you control your mind does not control you. You will be able to shut your mind down in the moments that is trying to take you off track. And then when you can replace those thoughts with acknowledgments of the things that you have done well for yourself, that will help you to come into awareness of the present, right? Because all of the chitter and chatter of what should have, could have, would have been is either in the past or something to come in the future, but it is not in your present. In the present, you have done what you needed to do in that time. You have passed the moment that you could have done that, and you did so well. Embrace the celebration of doing well. One of the things that I had to personally learn for myself, because I was a person that really struggled with receiving the positive feedback, is that it's okay for someone to compliment you and it not be underhanded, right? It's okay for someone to give you praise without having an ulterior motive, right? Life sometimes, and the things you've been through in life can sometimes make you not trust, right? It can make you not trust. And sometimes an inability to receive the praise could be based and rooted in a place of not trusting. So ask yourself, why don't I deserve the praise? Remove your emotions. Did I achieve the goal? Yes. Why is that not praiseworthy? Did I refrain from making a poor decision? Yes. Why is that not worth praise for you? So you don't have to go and like run a marathon and come in first place to receive praise. When you put in effort, especially effort that you had to fight to put in because you're already fighting against life, but you allow life to sit to the side long enough for you to put in the effort to still be successful at whatever it is that you're doing. Allow yourself to be praised. I'm proud of you for the effort that you put in. I'm proud of you for everything that you overcome in every day. If you haven't heard that in a while, then hear it from me. You are worthy. You are loved. You are worth praise, right? So accept that. Find peace within yourself. Find a way to allow yourself to deal with what you need to deal with, but also look at life realistically through realistic eyes of what's going on in the present. Don't let the past, don't let the future guide you. Don't let your mind take over. Accept the praise that you are so deserving of. And just like I tell people all the time, try to give yourself some grace, right? We give grace to others pretty easily, but we struggle to give ourselves grace. So give yourself some grace. Even if you didn't achieve your goal, you tried, and that matters. Okay? So I hope that that answers the question of how I would go about addressing the situation, how I did go about addressing this situation. Let's be real, because I went through this very personally, and a lot of people wouldn't know that. So I'm glad when questions come up like that, because people kind of think I just woke up one day and I just had a clear understanding. No, I've been at this journey of self-awareness, self-fulfillment, sorry, for a couple of years. So it's not something that happens overnight, but I will tell you that the more effort that you put into it, it is a beautiful unfolding. Okay. So as we know, I would have pulled a card. I was led to a different card today. I do not know what the card is called, but I asked two questions about what, would be the best way for what advice, like what direction would be given for a person based on whatever question we were going to pull today, and what would be the overall focus for just anyone, regardless of the question. If there is someone that is seeking something, then my prayer is that they will be led to this video and that this question or this card will answer their question. So I asked for two things. Only one thing came out. Clarification was just the answer is the same either way. So let us see what the answer is. Um, so the answer says, self-awareness is key. Take time today to go within and spend time with your soul. Go for a walk in nature and ground yourself. Meditate, listen to your favorite music, whatever you enjoy most, do that today. So if that is something that anyone needs, do that today. Become more aware of yourself. Spend some time getting to know you, getting to love you, and see all the beauty that exists inside of who you are. Accept and identify with the unique unicorn that is within you. Each of us are created to be different for a reason. It is our differences that actually bring us together. It creates perspective. It helps us to better understand how life works and how things work, right? But get to know you, the you that is truly you, not the you that is created as the result of what life has done to you. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for continuing to ask questions and welcome my perspective to them. Please remember that everything that I speak on is truly just my perspective. I am not a medical provider. I'm not a therapist. I'm not anything of that sort. I'm just a person who is sharing feedback based on the experiences of the things that I've been through myself. So if you like the video, please feel free to comment, share, subscribe. Feel free to send more questions to me through whatever means works best for you. The email is in the description box. Please make sure to put those likes there. That helps to bring the awareness of the video up so that more people that may need to hear this type of message have an opportunity to hear it. So with that being said, I'm wishing everyone a magnificent Friday. Until next week, have a great week.